There we go. Sorry for the delay, folks. Getting to pivot from computer to phone and live streaming at the same time. So here we are. Can I get a hooty hoo to make sure that I can hear y'all okay, please?
Hooty doo.
Woo woo. All right. So let's go ahead and get things started here. Life lesson number 1, don't buy a Lenovo laptop. Still the same issues. So you're like, okay, Stephen, when are you going to just switch over? I'm never going to go to an Apple. But I'm a PC guy. Yeah, I know. Eventually, I know. Oh, Eric, I just pissed off Eric. Now he's gone. So Nikki, I love the glamour shot hair that you got going on.
Oh my God, I love you guys so much. I literally just woke up and I'm dying.
What are you talking about? I woke up like this whole thing, you know?
Literally just woke up, like rolled out of bed, came over here. So
yeah, we got you. Well, hey, we're glad that you're here, Nikki. So, all right, what I want to do for today is essentially just a continuation. I'm going to be looking for Andrea. Oh, son of a gun. Andrea's not here quite yet because I know that she wanted to role play basically what we were talking about yesterday in regards to setting the expectations with 5 showings and or also managing your own expectations when dealing with sellers. The big thing that, in case you weren't able to make it yesterday, or for those that are rewatching the YouTube, we are live, is to really understand that the more that you manage your time and the more that you respect your time, the more successful you'll be, right? And the reason why I say that is because when you're teaching people how to treat you, right? You're teaching people how to treat you. There's something to be said about the confidence that comes from that people will naturally gravitate towards you. Again, we kind of covered this yesterday where 2 people can say the exact same script, but the delivery can just be slightly off. That's going to give that person that, right? I don't know how I feel about this person. You know, we probably all have experiences like that where maybe we've, you know, interacted with someone that just, we're not quite connecting. And that, but they very well, you know, may connect with other people. That's the reason why that in the dating world, some people are going to be matches, some people aren't, you know? So the key thing to take away here is don't deliver it the way that someone else would. Deliver it in your own organic way. Deliver it in the style that is true to you, because people think of it from this perspective. If they know what they're dealing with or whom they're dealing with, their guard automatically goes down. But when there's a person that can't necessarily grasp who is this person that I'm speaking with, what are they about, why is it they're putting on this air about them, stuff like that, their natural defense mechanism is already going to be up before you even say anything. This is what we're talking about when we say like the mirror and matching. Obviously over the phone, it's all about the tonality, the volume, the rate of your speech, you know, things like that over the phone. But face to face, you can naturally see those pieces that will determine if you're a threat. So why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because I'm having to let one of our inside agents find a different opportunity, okay? The reason for that is that they are amazing with the script. I'm not the right leader for them. And here's why. I'm unable to get them to see past that mask that we're talking about when I'm saying, no, you don't, your delivery is great. Well, the script is great. The delivery is not quite there. There's still the, hi, is this Nikki? Nikki, this is blank with Keller Williams. And I'm calling about your property. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Like, don't, no. People know that you're in sales when you're doing that. But then versus someone else that has their own variety of the script. Hey, Nikki, hey, sorry, it's Stephen Keller Williams. Look, I'm reaching out in regards to your property. You got a second? And they're like, well, yeah, what's up, right? I'm sharing this with you because if you're noticing that you're using the scripts, you're using these techniques, and I encourage you to do so, and you're not quite seeing that you're getting the connections that you would like, get really far out of your comfort zone and record yourself. Get really far out of your comfort zone and record yourself. Why am I saying that?
That's so very true, and it's the most uncomfortable thing to do, and it's what a lot of corporations do when you prepare for interviews for the next level. You're just not aware of your own idiosyncrasies.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. One of the, a fun little story that if anybody ever goes to the Texas State Aquarium down in Corpus Christi, Texas, I don't know if they still have them, but back when they used to do all of the public presentations, I actually wrote most of the scripts for them. So the funny piece is that even though I wrote the scripts and I delivered most of them, I was one of the first, educational speakers there at this Texas State Aquarium, a conservation place. They were recording me for training purposes because they were about to train other people like me, and I was out doing the presentation, so I couldn't necessarily stop and shadow. So they're like, "Here, watch these presentations." I watched myself, and I fast forwarded just to be able to see, like, I want to know, how was that ending? I wanted to cry so badly because it's hard to demonstrate here, but I held the microphone with my left hand, but because I gestured with my right, when I sped it up, it looked like I was doing this. And I'm walking across back and forth in front of the dolphins. And I'm like, oh yeah, so let's give it a warm welcome to to the real stars of the show. And I'm like, mortified, absolutely mortified. But you know what? From that point on, guess where my right hand was? No, right by my side, right? I gave something to fidget with to where my hands are just making a small gesture in front of these, hundreds of people. So yes, it's going to get you uncomfortable, but guess what? This is going to be the most cliche thing you've ever heard. Growth happens outside of your comfort zone, right? This is no different. So while we're practicing scripting, while we're practicing the internalization of what we're talking about here, if you really want to get outside of your comfort zone, record yourself, because that will tell me and that'll tell yourself that you're actually serious about your growth. Okay, so Andrea, I saw you just popped on, darling. You able to chat?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So I am going to fulfill my promise of yesterday. I wanted to role play with you, and I want to be able to deliver some more content as well.
Okay.
So that being said, let's let you and I role play real quick what we talked about yesterday. Remember the format. I'm going to ask, why, you're basically going to set up the expectation. We're going to see 5 properties. Okay. I'm going to object. And I'm going to say, oof, only 5 properties, but out of blah, 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 right? You're going to reframe it, saying, well, is it because of this? And then you're going to articulate the dangers of seeing more properties and helping me internalize that it makes sense to only see 5 properties. You want me to role model it before we role play, or are you ready to get going?
What do you mean about role model?
Role model is where I'm basically the agent, you're the client.
I'm not standing in front of my notes, so give me 1 second. I'm kind of transitioning from getting ready to the big computer.
No worries. Well, do you want us to come back to you before the session is done?
No, let's do it. I need to get past, get out of my comfort zone.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Okay. So let's go at it. So now that you just explained, okay, cool. We've just gone over the buyer's presentation. I'm excited about this. Now deliver the expectation as far as what we're going to do next.
Okay, so the next step is we're going to look at a total of 3 to 5 properties that will 100% match your criteria that you gave me on the list. Okay? I don't want to waste your time.
Well, okay. Well, hold on. But I mean, why only 5 properties? There's like 30 out there.
I know. That's why I don't want to waste your time. I feel like, your time is really valuable. So I want to make this a laser sharp focus on what you really, really want. Because once we start looking at these houses.
Pause, Andrea. Pause. You're already telling.
Oh, so sorry.
No, you're good, darling. You're good. This is, and it's okay. This is why we're getting out of our comfort zone. So let me role model it just real quick, just to refresh your memory, if that's okay. Okay. So
yeah, no, I'm just reading the script. So.
Well, okay. Well, I don't recall that being part of the script, but that's okay if this is your own spin to it. Just keep it simple, darling. Keep it simple, right? We're going to see a total of 5 properties. Okay. All right. I'm likely going to object. I'm just saying we could do that, reframe it. Is that because you're concerned about missing out? That's probably the most important piece here to this entire
reframe.
script.
I didn't write that one down. Okay.
Okay, I'm glad that we're touching on this. Thank you for being vulnerable. Seriously, because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to be called out on what I don't know. I'm not calling you out. We're just highlighting this is really the most important piece, is that reframe, right? So that reframe, make it simple and just saying, okay, I respect that. Is that because you're concerned about missing out on other properties?
Okay.
I'm going to agree with you. And you say, okay, well, let's look at it from this perspective. You know, what if we see 5 properties and you fall in love with property number 4? But just for curiosity, we move on to see 6, 7, 8. Do you think that it's possible that someone else fell in love with house number 4 as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they fell in love with it, do you think that it's possible that they may have already written an offer?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how fair is it that if someone else moves faster than us, that they win the property that we want, but then anything we see after that is just second choice? How fair is that?
I see what you're saying. I mean, it's, I think that's going to water down the search if we look at too many. And I do want to look at the ones I really want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and move forward with the 5 favorite properties. Okay. And we'll take it from there. Sounds good?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Now let's flip this around. All right. So your turn. You're the agent.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. So explain what's going to happen next.
Okay. So the next step is we're going to look at a total of 3 to 5 properties that 100% match your criteria of what you want.
Got it. Well, hold on. Why only 5? I thought there's like quite a few properties that fit my criteria.
Well, is it because you don't want to miss out on looking at other properties?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, this is the thing though. Like when you see your top 5 properties, what if you find one that you're totally in love with? Number 4 out of the 5.
Well, I mean, if I fall in love with it, I'm okay to write an offer on it.
Perfect. Yeah, because if we keep looking at more beyond that. Wait, hold on. Let me start over.
No, you're actually you're finding a flow. You're finding a flow.
Okay. So you'll want to write an offer on that, but don't you think that other people will also fall in love with this same property as well? Property number 4.
Yes.
So isn't that why you want to just focus your search or focus your energy completely on property number 4 to win out your offer over others?
Okay, got it. So, all right, Andrea, let's pause one more time, okay? Great. Okay, so first of all, I love how casual you are, and it's you make it very comfortable. I want to acknowledge you for that. I want to really acknowledge you for that. The key thing that I'm looking for here, right? And this is, I'm only nitpicking because I know that you can take it and I know that you're very coachable. So here's the theme that I want us to be able to articulate, and I'm going to ask us to repeat it, the Suzuki method. I'm going to ask everybody, or at least as many people as possible, to repeat it at least 5 times. We want to reframe and threaten that reframe. Okay, I know I'm oversimplifying it. We reframe it, we threaten that reframe. We reframe, threaten it. Reframe, threaten it. Reframe, threaten it. Reframe, threaten it.
What do you mean by threaten it?
I want you to internalize the reframe and then threaten it first, because the reframe that you did there was, is that because you're concerned about missing out?
But I think I got to that too soon, right?
Pause. Yes, you did, Andrea. You never threatened it, right?
Okay.
You never threatened it. You did do that perfectly. You did that perfectly. And the next step, though, is that you were saying, hey, if you fall in love with property number 4, what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, I mean, I'd write on it. Well, are other people going to write on it too? I'm like, so you see how there was no threatening of the missing out. If I'm concerned about missing out, which is what you agreed, which is what I agreed to from the reframe, that because you're concerned about missing out, you then have to threaten that by saying, well, if we do see multiple properties, we will miss out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what you want to articulate. That's the message that we're looking to articulate in the script. You're concerned about missing out. The message is that, well, if we look at more than 5 properties, you will miss out.
Because you're looking at too many, right?
Exactly. Now does it make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. So that's basically what we're wanting to do. And actually, I'm glad that we took a moment to refresh on this, because literally everything that we've been talking about up to this point lands on this basic concept. You want to create the reframe, and the message that you're delivering is, if we do it your way, this will be threatened. This is what you want. This is really what you're going for. If we do it your way, that's not going to happen. Or
I feel like I need to string it together better, because I do understand the logic, and I want to protect my time as well as my clients' time.
Absolutely.
And I feel like if we're looking at more than 5 properties, it's gonna really muddy the waters, and they're gonna kind of lose sense of what they really want.
No, you're right. And that's the reason why that we do this, is that it's not like we're trying to trick someone necessarily. It's not like we're trying to manipulate them. It's just to help them better understand. It's like, bottom line, that's what it comes down to. You want to see more properties because you think that that's the best way to not miss out. Exactly. So we put ourselves in the client's shoes. That does make sense according to the client. I want to see as many properties as possible to know what I want. Wrong.
No, you have to make the list first.
Yes, exactly. Like, you put it in your mind's eye, because most of the time when you accomplish a goal, here's another thing. When you accomplish a goal, where do you visualize it first?
In your mind.
People that win the Olympic gold medal the first time, do they know what it's really like to win gold in the Olympics?
No.
Or do they visualize it?
I think
you know what I'm saying?
Visualizing it.
Yeah, they visualize it first. So this is the whole concept that we're utilizing when it comes down to our clients. And same thing for getting sellers to understand where they're going to go next. They have to see it in their mind's eye first. And it's our jobs to get them to focus in on that. Okay? So what we're going to do, just for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. So Andrea,
All right.
Great gusto. I really do mean that. Rob just said some golden nuggets right there. Too many properties equals analysis paralysis. Right?
That's perfect. I love that wordplay.
Yeah. So great gusto, Andrea. And seriously, you have a way of delivering it to where it's very familiar. You've nailed that authenticity to it. I just want to see the deeper, sink your teeth into the psychology of it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. And I feel like I need to replay the first scripts class from this week, because there were a lot of nuggets and I didn't take notes, and it was just an awesome class. And I just think you're an extraordinary human, and I learned so much from you every day. So
You're so sweet.
you.
You're so sweet, guys. We learn from each other. I really do mean that. We learn from each other here. So thank you for the love. All right. So for this next piece here, okay, I do want to maintain in regards to productivity killers, but I'd like to actually open this up to make it somewhat organic, because we covered quite a few. And I want to know, what is the main productivity killer that you would like to focus on today? What did we bring up yesterday? Yes, I'm testing to see if we paid attention. People are looking through their notes. See if I can move the screen so I can see more people.
Well, I wasn't here yesterday, but I know on the Tuesday it was the buyer won't sign with you. That's one of the big productivity killers. I just remember that from Tuesday.
All right. Would that be helpful if we focused on that today?
Sure.
Okay. May I get a second or any other suggestions?
Second.
All right. Perfect. You're getting your way today, Melissa. All right. So
Always good.
Yeah, I know. Always gets your way. So this is essentially when we're talking about not wanting to sign a BRE. Guess what, guys? All of the practice that we've done in regards to limiting the properties to 5 and only saying, oh, we're going to see a total of 5 properties, all of which are going to be 100% matched to what you're looking for, blah, 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 blah. What was the key thing that we're talking about here? What's this gesture for my visual people? What does this mean? What did I do?
Putting the keys in your hand for the property you want, right?
Sure, that too. What's the concept that we're wanting to do? When we do what? It starts with an R. It's when we change the context.
Redirect.
Reframe.
Reframe.
Thank you. We reframe it first, and then what do we do?
Threaten.
Thank you. I have to breathe for a minute. All right, so basically, whenever we're doing the reframe and we threaten it, it's the exact same concept whenever it comes to a person that doesn't want to sign a BRE, right? So let's look at it from that perspective. If this is going to be our theme, to understand from a scripting standpoint, why is it that just like a client, it makes sense to them to see multiple properties in order for them to figure out what they want? It makes sense in their head. But then if we flip it around, doesn't make sense to see more than 5 properties, because if you're concerned about missing out, you see more than 5, we're going to miss out. So what is the concept about a person that does not want to sign a BRE? What do you think, according to them, why doesn't it make sense to sign one?
Well, the more agents they have looking for them, that's less they got to do, and one of them will come up with their dream property.
There you go. So what's it really about then?
FOMO.
Okay, FOMO, which is pretty closely related to what did we just cover?
On seeing the 5 properties.
Yeah, and what's that really concerned about? What are we reframing seeing the 5 properties about? What's the reframe?
Yes. Well, afraid of missing out on their all these other properties that are out there if you're going to just limit me to 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if that is the reframe that we're doing for a person that doesn't want to sign a BRE, right? If the person doesn't want to sign the BRE, is that because you're concerned about missing out on other properties from other agents? Right?
Right.
If that is the true reframe. Now, here's the glory of this, guys. Kevin just mentioned another one, commitment issues. That could be the case. What if it has nothing to do with being burnt out? What if it has everything to do with, you know,
Or don't want to be tied down.
Yeah, they don't want to be tied down. Maybe they had a really crappy experience beforehand, right? The message is still the same. We want to reframe that and then threaten that reframe. So if it's about missing out, so Rob, kind of walk me through this, okay? I'm going to give you some little nuggets to touch on. If I don't want to sign the BRE because I'm concerned about missing out on other properties that other agents may or may not, that may have, okay? I will miss out on properties because what do we have to have in place in order to share off-market information?
Gotta have that BRE in place.
We got to have the BRE. So those that are new, that are kind of familiarizing themselves with this concept, and since we're YouTube Live, if anybody's out there looking to purchase a property, any one of these people on this group is a good one to work with. And clear cooperation policy states, in essence, that we can only market those properties to our clients or to our brokerage. The only way to establish an agent-client relationship, especially with buyers, is that BRE. All right, so those are some of the nuggets that we want to be able to touch on. So think of it from that perspective, Rob. So in your own way, right, walk me through that. So if I were to say, you know, Rob, you know, I get it, man. Yes, I'm okay seeing a total of 5 properties. But you know, this BRE, I have a hard time kind of digesting that. Why would I only work with you when there's so many agents to work with?
Well, is it because you're afraid of missing out on properties that these other agents may have found?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of agents. I figured you all have some different, properties in your pockets. Say that 10 times fast.
That's true. But did you know that without a BRE in place, a broker buyer agreement, I can't even show you these properties, or at least let you know about them unless you're a client?
Okay. No, I didn't know that.
Okay.
So, okay.
So-
So you caught yourself in something, right? You caught yourself in something. You just delivered a message. Could you control how I received that and how I perceived that message? Because you hit me right between the eyes. And on one hand, good job.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
Mhm.
did I get a chance to discover that you have
No,
something
I kind
that I
of.
want, and other agents
Mhm.
not telling me about this makes me kind of wonder,
Mhm.
right? Elicits some doubt. John, exactly it. The conversation, it falls a little flat of where you can use your charisma and use your influence, right? So let's back up here a bit. Well,
Mhm.
Rob, hold on, bud. Why do I have to sign this when, I want to work with as many agents as possible, because more agents, more properties, right?
Right. But have
Ask me about my competitive edge. How am I getting a competitive edge with working with
Yeah.
multiple agents?
Okay. Yeah. So. Oh, that's it. Okay. Okay.
You're good, bud. You're good, bud.
All right. So, competitive edge, off-market properties. Okay. So, Stephen. Yeah. So, with these other agents, have they told you about these off-market properties?
What do you mean?
Okay. Well, these are properties that aren't on the MLS yet, and either they were canceled. They were. God, I'm just
Don't over-explain.
spinning our
You
wheels
get
here.
me. Ask
Okay.
me.
Wouldn't you want to? Okay. I don't know. I'm totally lost.
No, you're not, bud.
You're
You're
doing
on the right
great.
track. You're creating those new neural pathways. Okay, that's why I'm pushing through. I'm not letting you off the hook, because I know you've got it. I know you've got it. It's on the tip of your tongue. Dangle the carrot, man. What do you mean an off-market property? What's the value of an off-market for me?
Okay. Okay. All right. So, well, would you like access to these off-market properties?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, okay. What the benefit of off-market property is, it cuts down on the competition. Wouldn't that be good?
Absolutely.
That way, you're only dealing with potentially, just the seller.
Mm-hmm.
So, wouldn't it behoove you to sign a BRE with me so I can get you access to these off-market properties?
There we go. Get me to agree to the value, not the commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Get me
Yeah.
to agree to the value, not the commitment. And I love the way you put that. Would you like to be able to get access to these properties for your competitive edge? Would you like to be able? And so there's a million different ways to deliver this, right? Rob, first of all,
Yeah.
great job for pushing through. I mean that.
Thanks.
Great job for pushing through, bud. This is really what it's about, is that there's a million different ways to deliver this. So I'm going to go off of Kevin's, though. What if I say, okay, Rob, but here's my next problem that I have, right? Don't worry, I'm going to take the pressure off of you, bud. But if a person were to then say, and use Kevin's, oof, but here's the thing, I just have a problem signing an agreement saying that I can only work with you. Where can we go with that?
Well, it's a double guarantee.
What do you mean?
By signing this agreement, you're getting information that wouldn't be provided to others. So you have a special nugget. On the same accord, you have my commitment to work with you. It goes both ways. It's a two-way street. If you're unhappy with my service at any time, we tear it up and there's no commitment. So really, it's a win-win for you. So when do you want to get started?
There we go. When do you want to get, Nikki? Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Right? Perfect. Perfect. Now, what can we do to be able to get me to lock me into like this type of agreement? What else can we kind of talk about here? If I'm afraid of a commitment, I'm afraid of this actual commitment, what could be a possible solution here?
Shorten it.
What's that? Yeah, shorten it. How can we deliver that?
Why don't we do a 30-day test run and see how it goes? If you aren't happy and you don't feel that you're getting everything you need, then we can call it quits and you can go on your merry way.
If you're a person that stumbles on your own words, I do. It's the reason why Nikki's very eloquent. She's very fast thinking, very quickly spoken, right? So she can probably, she's a unicorn, right? Clearly, right? Now, also in that regard, though, is that if you have a challenge stumbling on your own words, or if you're a person that talks a little bit too much, we can shorten Nikki's version by saying, okay, Nikki, I appreciate that. Let me ask you something. If you were to date someone for 30 days, would you get a pretty good idea of what they're like?
Sure.
Yeah. So if we work together for 30 days, would you get a pretty good understanding of my work value and the services that I provide?
I'd hope so.
Yeah. And so if you're happy with my services, what are your thoughts on this? We were to sign it for 30 days. Okay. You get to see my value. If you love it, great. We can extend if you choose to do so. If you don't, you're no longer under contract. Would that be a fair compromise?
Sounds like a perfect compromise.
Right? Quick and to the point. The thing is that depending on your style, this is the reason why I say we learn from each other. Rob is soft-spoken and deliberate. Nikki is not soft-spoken and eloquent in her delivery. Very professional, right? Me, I don't know what the heck I am, but I like to ask questions because that's just something that it helps me because I've gotten into too much trouble telling. So it's just a natural instinct for me, right? So
Even
bottom line, yeah, Paul is aggressive. Aggressive. Okay. Wait, Nikki, what were you going to say?
You really helped me with this early on when we had scripts like 2 years ago, which, by the way, I'm typing all my scripts and I have about 200 of them now. So you get out of your head and you start thinking about, like, you're not really selling, you're not trying to lock them down, you're not trying to keep them from anybody else. You have, because every one of you on here are amazing agents, and you really have an uncanny ability to help people. And if you keep that in the top of your mind, you're like, I'm here to help you. I really want to help you. It makes you think differently about trying to lock them down, or, that's the whole point is, I put in the little scripts, like, would you rather have a doctor that had, like, a new doctor who's got 1,000 patients trying to land 10% of them, or seasoned agents that are just working with 5 or 6 and you're one of them? And that was an analogy I used recently, and it really worked because it is true. Now I'm at the point in my career, and it didn't happen right away, that I can actually limit the number of new clients I take. And it has been a game changer, but I have that same mindset with every buyer. And pretty soon, a lot of you guys are going to be getting all those buyers because, and one in particular, and you know who you are. But the point is that that's how you grow, and you have your mindset that you're helping them, and then it's just a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I love that, Nikki. And that's something that, again, like, as we're putting these into practice, okay, I know that a lot of times people think that scripts are just about manipulation and whatnot. It's just a streamlined way of communicating. It's nothing more, nothing less than that. It's a streamlined way of communicating. So again, when we're leaning in to the opportunities that we're providing people by working with us, I know that it seems challenging at first because we're stumbling on what specifically we're saying. It's not about that. It's not about that at all. It's about the value that you provide, and how you articulate that is how you articulate. All we're teaching here is the psychology to help you have a streamlined approach, right? I'm sure each and every one of you can stand up on stage and saying, here's my value as an agent. Here's how I can help you. Here's what I do for my clients, blah, 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 blah. That's a great sales pitch. It's a great sales pitch, but that's not communication. That's a monologue. Do you get that? People want to work with you because of communication, a conversation between two people, not a monologue, right? Just listen to the breakdown. Conversation with monologue, solo, right? So let's keep on going in for the BRE. Person doesn't want to sign this commitment. All right. So Kevin, what did you take away in regards to a person that has a challenge with commitment? don't script me, but how can we talk around a person that may have a commitment issue?
Well, it's basically just an agreement. You're not committing to anything. You're just agreeing to let me represent you through this transaction.
There we go. All right. You're not agreeing to anything other than, I'm going to represent you for your dream purchase. That's it. So if a person were to be able to say, oh gosh, yeah, but what if some other agent sends me some other property, right? What's their concern really about?
They're wanting more choices. But
okay, there we go. So
But
ergo, a person may not want to sign because they think that limits their choices. Y'all get that? So Kevin, how can they actually have more choices by signing that BRE?
well, then that gives me the option to be able to shoot them off market. Off market properties are coming soon, for that matter.
Yep.
And get them the leg up on that.
Roughly every single week, y'all don't see the breakdowns, but every single day when I see the 3 breakdowns, escrow listings taken, escrows open, escrows closed, every single day I get a breakdown from this entire market center. You guys, whether you're solo or on a team, are part of one big family team. That means that you have access to dozens of new properties, dozens of properties off market weeks and months before they hit the market. Weeks and months before they hit the market. Why do I know that? Because Broker Bob has to sign those RLAs that you're putting out there that your clients are signing. When those are fully executed, I see them. I see them. Shh. I don't see the RLA exactly or the RPA specifically, but I do see listings taken, escrows open, escrows closed. So when I'm talking about we will on a daily basis take a good number of listings, that's why I say every week we know dozens of properties that are about to hit the market. So if you notice, the main reason why that I kind of ping certain people is because if I see Susan Gedstad and Heather Daly just took a listing, someone's like, hey, can I advertise something? I ping those 2 people because I'm like, I just saw you took a listing, right? So use that information. Use that information. So Kevin, let's come back to you here, bud. If I'm concerned, okay, just talk me through this as if I was your, as if I'm like a relative, okay, that you like. I want to clarify that, right? Talk to me as if I'm a relative that you like and saying, Kevin, well, hey man, here's the thing is that wouldn't working with more agents give me more options?
Well, Stephen, I work in an office with over 200 agents, and I see coming soons or off markets on a daily basis. So that's going to give us a competitive edge. Or wouldn't you think that would give us a competitive edge over all those others?
Yeah.
So see, by simply signing this agreement, you're not committing to anything. If I'm not doing the proper job, you can rip it up at any time. This simply states that if we find a property that you absolutely love, that I will be representing you through this transaction. Fair enough?
Fair enough. Ooh, take my money. Take my pen. Take my BRE. Love it, man. Love it. Solid, 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 solid. So here's what's so great about this is that without touching on, well, working with more agents, I'll get more, right? Well, yeah, but here's how it works. I'm out of an office with over 300 agents, meaning I know properties. I know about dozens of properties, weeks, if not months before they hit the market. Which would you rather have? Now, this is a different spin. Which would you rather have? A bunch of agents sending you the same properties, or one person streamlining it and only sending you on and off market properties that match your criteria? Which would you prefer? That's one option that I've heard. That's not my own, but that's one that I've heard. And I was like, oh, I like that one. I can't remember whose it was, but I like that delivery. another delivery. This one, make sure you have rapport. Make sure you have rapport, because this came from another agent. I wish that I remember the origins, but I always want to give credit where credit's due. Unfortunately, I just can't remember. But this other agent was very direct and would essentially ask, saying, okay, Kevin, I appreciate that. Well, did those other agents explain to you how many off markets they're going to send you? They didn't? Well, what did they tell you about their value proposition? So you know nothing about them and how they're going to be serving your needs? It was all about the doubt. It was all about the doubt. My one piece of feedback was lighten up, because you don't want to beat them down too much. But there's some relevance behind asking those questions. My favorite spin on the listing side was whenever an agent wanted to overprice a property. Stephen, well, you and your team, you're saying that you're going to, list my property at $999. This other one said they can get me at 1.2. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, totally. I get that. Did they say that they would buy it at 1.2 if they couldn't sell it at 1.2? No, of course not. Well, then what do you think their confidence is? So how highly would you rate their confidence if they're not willing to buy the property that they're saying they're going to sell it for? Well, are you going to buy mine at $999? That'd be a steal if I bought it at $999. Absolutely, I would. But you don't want to just get $999. You want to get closer to that 1.2, right? Yeah. Well, do you want people to bid you up or bid you down? Bid me up. The price that I'm suggesting is not what I'm saying it's going to sell for. It's simply a marketing strategy. Does that make sense? Right? So when you're using it from that perspective, just in that moment, you hear of different deliveries. You've heard Kevin's. Very eloquent, very friendly. Very much so, look, here's what I can provide. If you want to be that agent that elicits a little bit of doubt, okay, well, out of these numerous agents, right, how many of them shared their value proposition of sending you dozens of off-market properties? So here's the thing. Someone had Facebook messaged me recently and said, Stephen, my main reluctance in telling people that I have access to off markets is because where would I find them, right? If you attend the weekly meetings, the unshy agents, right? The unshy agents will actually pitch what they have coming soon. But even still, you've got My Plus leads, you've got resources to look at FSBOs and expires, which are technically off market. So the reality is that more often than not, if you just go for the value proposition, I promise you, you're not fabricating information. We are a very strong office, one of the top rated ones in the entire region. And in fact, 2 regions, because now I'm part of the LA region and the SoCal region, which is our area. We are top performers. Do you get that? Because of that, we are working both not only the luxury market, but everywhere in between. So we do have, in fact, access to more properties than most. We're doing more volume than most. Am I saying all? No, that would be a lie. But more than most? Yes. Not only than that, but because we have a family inclusive feel, I'm going to get on a high horse just real quick. I'm a part of this other market center in LA. Sorry, I'm cheating on you guys a little bit. I'm part of this market center in LA. I don't see any posts about off markets. Nobody asks me about our 15 off market listings that we have right now. No one's asking. And I'm thinking, what kind of camaraderie, guys? I'm not putting down this other market center, but I'm bringing this up because I'm like, you do have access to this. You're basically a part of a team of 300 and receiving the value therein. So speak with confidence. Kevin, the way that he delivered that, did it sound scripted?
Nope.
I didn't think so. So Kevin, what is it? So let's just break this down a little bit more. Why is it that is it just your style? What helped you articulate the message in such a casual and approachable vibe?
It's just the way I talk. I honestly don't know. It's like just being on scripts and working with some people in the market center for the last 7-8 months now. I've gotten confidence in the people that I work with. So, I mean, if I'm sitting here saying, well, we have 200, 300 agents in our office that, we communicate, I may not talk to people directly, but I see the postings every day. So, it's just confidence that for the most part, I've got my eye out for you for what you're looking for. So as soon as it pops up, I'm going to shoot a text as long as you, or give them a call or whatever, but that's only if I've got that BRE signed on a coming soon or a off market.
There you go. There you go. So let's actually continue on. I want to get one additional role play, possibly from someone that has not gone yet. All right. I'm going to kind of scroll through here. I'm sorry, because I'm on my phone, I wish I could see my chat boxes more regularly. Unfortunately, I'm unable to. So the piece that, as I'm looking for someone to role play with, I want to hear your own delivery to where we can all learn together. Basically, I'm going to give you the same thing. I'm going to object to the BRE. You're going to reframe it. Be prepared. I may throw you off. So let's break this down before we role play. If I say I'm nervous to sign this BRE, what are some different ways we could reframe it? What's one way we can reframe it?
Don't you want my loyalty to you?
Okay, so maybe it's about loyalty. All right, what else could it be?
Are you afraid of being tied down to one agent?
There we go. Is it just because you're afraid of being tied down to one agent? Which is really about what? So here's what I'm going to encourage. For a reframe, make it have some grit. Is it my concern about working with one agent, or what's it really, really, really about? What could hurt you from working with just one agent, according to them?
Missing out on other properties.
Thank you, John. Right? Thank you, John. Missing out on other properties. What else could it be about?
What if they don't like working with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So say that again.
Me?
Yes.
So what if they don't like working with you?
Okay. Right. They're concerned that I'm locked in if they don't like you. Okay. Are there really any other reasons that a person wouldn't want to sign a commitment?
Where do I think they can just work with the listing agent?
Ooh. Ooh, I love those. I love those so much. Those are cute. Those are cute. So I want to touch on that because we haven't in a while. What is a wonderful analogy to use if a person says, because when you're all working with listings, right? Or if you're doing an open house and a person says, oh, I'm going to put in the offer with the listing agent. What's an analogy that we can use to help a person relate the dangers of working with a listing agent?
The lawyer analogy.
Ooh, the lawyer analogy. Tell me more about that.
So whenever you have a court case, you have someone defend the plaintiff and someone, or I'm not really great with legal terms, but each side has a defense, someone to represent them, to, make sure their interests are protected.
Right. Right. So let's walk this through. Hope, I love that participation. So talk me through it. So as an example, right, here's what we could do. Hope, I appreciate that you want to work directly with the listing agent, right? And is that because you feel like you can probably get a better deal by working with them?
Yes.
And that's fair. That's fair. So pause. What did I do in that moment? What did I just do?
Reframed it.
There you go. Right. It's not about working with listing agents. Oh, because you probably think you're going to get a better deal, right? Well, yeah. So what am I about to do? Remember this? What am I about to do?
You're about to threaten it.
That's it. That is it. Thank you, Hope. Oh my gosh, you're giving me energy right now. All right. So yes, absolutely. So it's about, all right. So is it because you're concerned that, is that because you want to get the best deal possible? Is it because you think they're going to be able to get you a better deal? Well, yeah. Well, let's talk about that real quick. All right. So, Hope, have you ever seen like a courtroom drama, or maybe even been in court yourself?
I've seen movies.
Seen movies, right? So the plaintiff and the defendant, they each have their own representation, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Why is that?
Sorry,
You're
just
good.
to make sure everyone's protected and make sure everyone's being treated fairly. And
Yeah. It's about fairness, or even more so, if you were to see a divorce case, would one partner want the same attorney as the ex-partner?
Always use divorce.
Yeah. Right? No. Well, why is that? Well, because the attorney's, hired to represent that one. Absolutely. And so Hope, help me understand, who is the listing agent hired by?
Yeah, the listing agent is protecting the seller.
Yeah. So help me understand, how are they going to help you get a good deal? Right? And that's the reality. That's the reality, because guess what? This listing agent, maybe they got that listing at 6%. They were paying 2.5% to the buy side. Well, shoot, guess what they'll do? They'll get you a great, sweet deal they'll give you they'll give you a little bit of an incentive to work with them, meaning they're still going to pocket, 5.5%. Who knows what they're going to do. But bottom line, we have to help a person understand, when we're reframing it, we threaten it. We reframe, we threaten it. We reframe, we threaten it. Okay, I get it, Hope, that you want to work with a listing agent. That it could make sense. Is that because you wanted to make sure you can get a better deal by working with them? Well, yeah. All right, well, let me ask you something. In a divorce situation, do you think that one partner would want the same attorney as their ex? No, why not? Isn't this just like that? Who is the listing agent hired by? So whose interests are they protecting?
Yeah, the seller.
And how is that going to get you a good deal? Here's another good nuggets for y'all to write down. How will you know? How will you know? It's a universal question. It's used a lot in therapy, especially when people are talking about goal setting and revitalizing a new lifestyle or anything like that. How will you know when this happens? How will you know when you experience blank? In real estate, the how will you know concept is for especially FSBOs that are saying, well, I want to sell it myself because I want to get top dollar. Okay, I got it. Well, how will you know that you're getting top dollar? What do I do? What am I doing in that brief moment? Okay, Hope, let's just keep this conversation if you don't mind. If you don't mind, right?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Is that if I were to say, Hope, like I totally get that you're looking for a good deal. How will you know that you're getting the best deal, though?
I guess you don't really know.
Yeah.
Right.
So would it be helpful to have some certainty in regards to this decision, the biggest investment of your life?
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on this? What if we were to collaborate? I share some of my styles in helping my clients get a competitive edge. If you like what you hear, great, let's proceed. If not, we can part ways and you can use this information as reference. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Excellent. Do you see how you can create communication by, just like Rob is saying, bringing in that doubt? How will you know? So, especially when people are like wanting to hire multiple agents, they want to work with multiple agents. Well, how will you know that you're getting the best value? Well, I'll get the house that I want for the best deal possible. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that they have in their mind's eye, they've got an idea of what that looks like. When you ask, how will you know? More often than not, they can't articulate it. That means they lean in to what you have to say next. I'll say that again. If you ask, how will you know? And they don't have a response, lean in, because they're open for suggestions. That's literally what that means. Well, how will you know you're getting best deal possible? I don't know. I'll just get a lower price. Well, how will you know that it's lowest price? Well, if I work with Navy Fed, they'll give me $1,000 in credit. Only 1,000? What, are you able to give more? Well, we can see I usually save my clients a heck of a lot more than 1,000. Would saving more money be of interest to you? Well, let's talk about that. How will you know? Well, this other agent said that they'll do this. Okay, well, how will you know? They said that they're going to do this. Well, how will you know? If they give you an answer, listen, because they just told you, hey, look, this is what I'm looking for. Does that make sense? I know it's a little bit of a tangent, but does that make sense in regards to just communication?
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you, Hope. So what are y'all taking away from this? I know that we're kind of approaching time here. So Hope, would you mind if we were to role play this real quick? Are you okay if we do that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Specifically the BRE? Okay, cool. So let's go in for the BRE. So give me the delivery, right? So what we have here is a BRE, simply meaning that when we find you that dream home, I'll represent you for that transaction. Sounds good? So give me that, and then I'm going to object, okay?
Okay, so now that we have a BRE signed, crap. Okay, sorry.
So let's go for, so do you know the script to deliver the BRE?
This is just an agreement so that I represent you for when we find your dream home.
Yep, that's it. That's it. Perfect. Right? This is just an agreement. States that when we find you the dream home, I'll represent you.
Yes.
Right? All right. Oof. Well, Hope, hold on real quick. I'm not really comfortable signing anything.
Is that because you're worried about missing out on other properties working with other agents?
Well, yeah. I mean, I figure more agents, more properties, right?
But I have access to off-market properties and an office of 300 agents who all have properties that are coming soon and off-market that I have access to that we can see, which would lower your chances of facing competition.
Tag me in by asking I love that delivery. Just wrap it up with whenever I do this, I mean, hook it in or tie it down with, would that be a value to you? Does that sound good? Stuff like that.
Okay. So if I were able to show you off-market properties and coming soon properties, do you think that would be valuable to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I actually can't show you any off-markets unless we have a BRE signed due to legal purposes.
There you go. Perfect. Hope, how have we not role played before? This is awesome. Great job. Great job. Seriously, this is amazing, guys. Y'all always fill all of my love buckets because it's like, whenever we're doing this, we're learning together and we're understanding how we're communicating by listening to other people. Hope's delivery is different from Paul's, different from Kevin's, different from Rob's, different from Nikki's, different than John's, different than Mike's. Everybody on this call has a different style. Guess what? Embrace it, because that's what makes you, you. It's your confidence that you have. Not being stuffy, but your confidence that you have that's going to allow a person to see the value of wanting to work with you, of wanting to move forward with you. So it's not about manipulation, it's about influence, knowing that you, in fact, have the value. They just don't know how to see that value quite yet. And the way that we do that is by being on their level and making our information relatable and simple. Because leaders do what? Leaders
lead simply.
There you go. Lead simply or simplify, right? Leaders simplify. Make no mistake, you are all leaders on this call, because when people seek out your guidance, when they seek out your structure, they're seeking your leadership. Provide it. Leaders simplify. Great job today. Thank you all for being here. We did YouTube live this, so if you ever want to look back, especially Hope, Andrea, Rob, those that got a chance, Kevin, that got a chance to role play today. If you want to listen back to it and be like, son of a gun, I should have done this, make yourself really uncomfortable, watch this again. For those that were not comfortable, raising a hand, that's fine. Watch this, and you're going to be called on at some point in time. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for being